Kim's Kitchen, bringing you easy ways to grow, harvest, and prepare delicious foods from your own backyard.
Hey guys, it's Kim and welcome to my kitchen. Today I am preparing to make what we like to call summer salad, which is using a cucumber, which came from my garden, some of the yellow tomatoes that came from my garden, and some of the spring onions. I only have a few that came from my garden, so I'll have to add some other onion. But you also add your Italian dressing, or you can add some Greek dressing, and you kind of let it marinate with some pepper, salt, pepper, garlic, and things like that. So I'm preparing for that. So I'm cooking from my own backyard, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm starting out with my lemon tomatoes. That's exactly what these are. So they will not change and get any other color. And if you see, they are just beautiful inside. So I'm just getting the first slice, and then I'm going to slice them even thinner. But I wanted you to see how beautifully yellow they are. Those are called lemon tomatoes. So I don't know if you've ever had them. They just have a different taste. I guess the lemon is just explaining the strong lemon flavor, or the acidity that's inside of the tomato itself. But I guess I better get a better knife. This knife is kind of dull over some time, so I'll get a sharper knife and I'll slice these down nice and thin. Okay, I've got a better one. We're cutting nice and thin. The tomatoes are kind of soft, so it makes it a little more difficult. So once you get them in a nice groove, you can also cut these in chunks. I know some people who just like really large tomato chunks. I've done both ways. Some people even cut going sideways. I try not to do that because I can't really see what I'm doing. I don't want to cut myself. But those are those beautifully yellowed lemon tomatoes that's going to make the salad just pop. Okay, I found even a better knife that seems to work very well with these. Lemon tomato, it's cutting nice and thin. So yeah, almost see through. For a person who's not big on tomatoes, I like them thinner. I mean, I like tomatoes when they're made in the summer salad. And this summer salad, if you've never heard of it, it's several generations for me. My mother, my grandmom, and even my great grandmother Blink used to cut tomatoes and put it in a summer salad with cucumber and onion. The difference was that they really did use the red tomatoes. However, I'm sure it'll be just fine both ways. But one thing about it, being at my grandmom's house when I used to live there, there was never a day that a fresh cut tomato or onion was not on the table. It was something that she ate with every one of her meals. Fresh cut tomato and a raw onion every day. Some of my other aunts, they really love the spring onion, but my grandmother was really big about the real meaty tomatoes. Okay, so now I'm going to get this big old cucumber cut up. Cut the ends off first, and then usually what I do, I don't always peel the whole thing. Sometimes, and my grandmother showed me this, I kind of just cut around it. So like I make like several lines and leave some of the skin on it, because the skin is also really good. So it's kind of like striped. Yeah, my grandmother really can show you this one. And she used to do that when she catered. Sounds so crisp, huh? Because it really is. And that little striped look gives it a little design when you decide to cut it and put it in your meals. Some people like them cut really thick. I do not, because I'm not really that big on eating cucumbers. However, in the salad, I love it because it has that salad dressing. The acidity is there. The other part that I love, you see how pretty that looks? The other part that I love is adding a little bit of balsamic vinegar, maybe even a little bit of vinegar with the mother in it. They also used to add just a smidget of sugar to take the real harsh flavor off. My grandmother used to make her own dressing with olive oil and the vinegar and sugar and salt and pepper, and sometimes she would just let it sit for a bit, you know, or other times she would just whip it up and use it. It always tastes just as good. But yeah, so I'm going to take a half of onion. Sometimes I use a whole one, but this is pretty large, and I want to cut them as thin as possible. Ringlets. It's hard to get a nice grip because the onion is already uneven. But the ringlets are super important, and for them to be thin is just as important. Just so you see, really thin. So what happens is the seasonings as well as the salad dressing kind of can marinate through it. So everything doesn't have that really strong onion flavor. It definitely has a salad dressing flavor, along with the flavors from the tomato and the cucumber kind of get on the onion, and the onion's juices as well. It's through the cucumber and the tomato. It's really delicious. I wished I had a couple red ones too and mix them together. I think the colors would really pop. I have to go out in my garden to see if I have another red one. Some other things that you could add, you could also add peppers. My family usually didn't, but you can add red pepper. If you like your things a little bit more spicy, you can add a few drops of the crushed pepper to wake that flavor up and make it come alive if you're a spicy person. Some people like those hot things. Every now and then I add them, and I actually have been adding them more lately to the meals that I've cooked. So here's the tomatoes. Here's the onions. Here are the tomatoes already. Here are the cucumbers. And I have all of my seasonings here. I've got some garlic salt. I've got parsley. Always have parsley. I've got my salt and my pepper. Got my basil and dill weed, rosemary, and celery salt. You don't necessarily have to have celery salt. I just love it. I think it adds a little bit of pizzazz to the salads. Okay, all right, let's get started on our mixing. I'm going to start with some layers of cucumber. I'm just going to kind of lay them on the bottom. And I'm going to layer each thing. Not that you have to, but that's just the way I like to do it. I'm kind of like I do this. I'm a teacher, so those are things that I do. I try to make things look a certain way and organize it a certain way. That's just the way I do things. So, and then a few rings of onion. I'll add some seasonings and some dressing, and we'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I wanted you to see this, how I just kind of layered it with seasoning, and what I'm going to do is mix it up because I want to make sure that everything has its own little flavor. So every bite you get, you're going to taste different flavors. And then I'm going to start layering my dressing. So I use the gazebo room Greek salad dressing. You can use the Olive Garden, you can use regular Italian dressing, you can use vinegar and oil. Whatever you choose, it works. It's up to you and the taste that you want. Okay, I'll finish up and I'll show you what it looks like in the end. Okay, I'm on the last part of it where I added a little bit of the dressing in here. I'm going to add a tablespoon of sugar. After I add the tablespoon of sugar, I'm going to just add a little bit of vinegar and oil. So just a little bit of balsamic vinegar, vinegar with the mother, and just a little bit of oil. And mix that around. The sugar is going to help offset the sourness, but the cool thing about it is you want that little bit of sourness with that little tang. It's like a tangy flavor you want. A little bit of vinegar, a little bit of sugar, along with the dressing. The gazebo room Greek dressing is my absolute favorite. So, yeah, let's see. Perfect. All right, so that's the last thing that I'll pour on. For this salad, since it just has the tomato, the lettuce, the onion, and the seasoning, you can always add broccoli. This usually gets eaten pretty quick. And here is the summer salad, and I promise you it's delicious. Let me know how your family or a special family recipe that you guys have made before. Share it with us here, and thanks for stopping by my kitchen. Genesis 1 and 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is a fruit of the yielding tree seed, to you it shall be for meat.
Kim's Kitchen, bringing you easy ways to grow, harvest, and prepare delicious foods from your own backyard.